everyone, Anna from Savvy Cat Realty speaking to you about education and the schooling system in Portugal today. I obviously work with a lot of families that are coming from different countries in order to come and be resident in Portugal and come along with their children. And we have written blog posts about this subject that you can find here. So the first thing I'm going to tell you about is the Portuguese schooling system and how it works. So the first level of schooling, so to say, that it's not exactly schooling, is creche, that is daycare. So it's from 1 to 5 years old, if I'm not mistaken. And then you have the primary school, that is from the 1st to 4th grade. And then you have the basic school, that is from the 5th grade until the 9th grade. And then you have we call it secondary school, it's secundário, that is from the 10th grade until the 12th grade. So all this schooling up until this point is completely free of charge on the public system, and it is completely sponsored by the state of Portugal and mandatory. And after the 12th grade, the students will go and enroll on a university. There is both public and private universities, and I will go through the public versus private system in a bit. So the grading system in Portugal is 1 to 5 up until the 9th grade, and then 1 to 20 from the 11th to the 10th to 12th grade, and then in university too. So usually kids finish the 12th grade by the time they are 17, 18 and enroll in university, or they can choose to go into different kind of courses like professional courses and so on. Until the 9th grade, usually everyone does more or less the same path, so to say. And on the 12th grade, from the 10th grade on, so secondary, kids can choose the kind of specialty they want to go in, or if they want to go into a technical course. So the normal options in the public schooling are arts, languages, and sciences. You can choose which topic you want to study. And after this, you get the public exams in order to enroll into university. A lot of kids, when they get to the 9th grade, they decide to go into a technical course, a specialty course instead. And this can be a number of topics, and many of them are subsidized by the state too. And they will give an equivalence to the 12th grade, and can still, after finishing these courses, kids can still go into university in the same way. They do the exams and they use the grade from these courses in order to enroll in the university. In the university in Portugal, you have more than one way to enroll. So the typical way is after you finish the 12th grade, using the grade that you got from these years plus the exam, and each one counts 50%. And you do the average, and that's the rate that you will get in order to enter university. So besides this, you also have some specialty options like plus 23 applicants. So basically people that are older than 23-year-old can use this method in order to get into university, and there is a specific exam for this particular method. And however, the number of vacancies is very, very low. It's usually between 1 per 3 vacancies per course for this type of entry. So I believe this more or less covers how the system works here in Portugal. And then I'm now going to go a bit into how the public versus private versus international schools. So obviously international schools are also private, but they're not the only kind of private schools. I'm actually going to start to talk about a little bit about the public schooling system. So the public schooling system is 100% free. The families just have to pay for the manuals, and even in the manuals, low-income families can get subsidized. And the quality of the public teaching here in Portugal is fairly good. Many of the teachers that work in public also work in private and vice versa, or have worked, not usually at the same time. The big difference between public and private is the number of students per class. So usually in the public system you have more students per class than you have in the private system. And obviously having less students per class is a better thing, as students get more individual attention. Private teaching here in Portugal has a bit of a negative overview. It is seen as paying for grades, and for a lot of people it is said that if a kid can get through the public system, parents would put them in the private system in order to get better grades. This is a bit of a fallacy, because in a way it can be because that kid gets more individual attention in the private system usually, but it can also be a bit of that. But I don't think that quality-wise, yes, private schools can sometimes have better quality, often have better quality, but mostly because the professionals working there aren't as overworked, and that is of course very important. So when it comes to private schools, you have a number of different private schools here in Portugal, and you have the international schools are one of them. And international schools, the big difference is they go by systems that are recognized internationally. Many of those private schools here in Portugal are either by the British system or the French system. There is one of two that uses the German system. There aren't an awful lot of private schools, of international schools in Portugal, and we do have a blog post listing the existing international schools here in Portugal that you can look into. So mainly you have one in Braga, you have a few in Porto, you have one in Leiria, you have a few in the Lisbon area, and then you have a few in the Algarve area. So you don't have a very broad option when it comes to international schooling. When it comes to international schooling, I think it can be very advantageous for kids aged between, I would say, 10 and 15, 9 and 18, let's say that, because they will have a harder time adapting to a new teaching system in a different language that they don't know. But younger kids, up until they're 7, 8 years old, they adapt quite easily, and they will likely learn much faster than their parents. And putting them on a private or Portuguese public school can be, I think, can be a good thing, as they will help them adapt a lot faster to the culture and to the Portuguese system. Private schools, of course, often have support systems in order to support international students. And in public schools, this wasn't as common, but now, due to the Ukrainian refugee situation, there were systems put in place to support Ukrainian refugee students and to help them have Portuguese classes and so on. Portuguese state also provides free Portuguese classes for foreigners. They are limited. You have to apply through local libraries and town halls. We probably will do a bit more of a topic of a blog post about that soon. But yes, in private schools, probably your kid will have a bit more support than in public schools. But of course, public schools still have a good level, and they will be free, so that's a nice advantage. I think this more or less covers all the important information you have about schooling. You can also check the school rates. This rating system is based on the results on the public exams, the ones for admission into university, by school and by a number of students and so on. It's better to go and use the filtering system to buy average in order to, you know, get from high to low, whatever has the best results, and you'll have an idea of what schools are getting the best results in Portugal. You can find this rating system and list of schools here in this link. This is absolutely not sponsored in any way. We support our clients in the whole moving process, and that of course includes helping them in enrolling kids in school if necessary, and finding the schools and finding them options. If you do wish to work with us, we work with both rentals and purchases. We always work from a buyer perspective. The rentals can be purchased directly on our website at www.savvycatrealty.com. And in order to work through the buying process, you do need to book an advisory call with me. And that advisory call cost does have a cost, but it will be deducted from the cost of your package. We work in a very different way. We always provide ethical and transparent solutions to our clients, and we usually end up saving them much more money than we cost them. So do take a look into our services. I hope this video was helpful. If you do have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. We will always try to come back to you as soon as possible. So I hope this was helpful, and I see you again soon. Bye!